So just about a year ago, I was finishing up planning what was probably the biggest step I'd ever taken in my entire life.
Sweating like crazy. Where I need to go? I just need to get to the next water source.
I was about to take on a 6-month journey down the Continental Divide Trail, a 3,100-mile backpacking trip from the top of Glacier National Park in northern Montana to the very border of Mexico and the United States in southern New Mexico. Something called me to do this. I had never felt such a drive inside me. I could feel something in my body every time I thought about being in the mountains, in the desert, in the forests, and taking on this trip. I spent countless hours planning every step of the way. CDT planning guide, finding resupply points, how many miles it is to that point, and determining exactly what gear I would need. I've been backpacking before, and so on June 27th, I took my first steps on this 3,100-mile hike. June 27th, day 1. 4 miles to Granite Peak from the Rising Sun Highway. Hard day of about 2,100 feet, getting used to the pack weight. Got to camp at 2:30 p.m. Nice day out all day, but thunderstorms at night. Saw 2 deer. Met Spencer, Molly, Josh, Kelly, and one other. Josh and Kelly were from Hillsboro, Wisconsin, others from the La Crosse, Winona area. The trip started with almost an entirely upward climb. I was tired, but I was loving the feeling of being out on my own and doing something that had called to me for so long. June 28th, day 2. 8 miles from Granite Peak to Many Glacier Campground. Definitely better than yesterday, mostly downhill. Met a photographer and hiked together. Saw a moose on the trail. Met Wrong Way, Papa Oats, and Knife Hands. Got to camp at 4:30 p.m. and took a shower. The people I met along the way were some of the most interesting and nicest people I have ever had the pleasure to meet. Wrong Way, Papa Oats, Knife Hands, Flo, Nemo, Swamp, Copenhagen, Trail Bride, Rebel. Everyone had a unique, what they call, trail name and personality. June 29th, day 3. 15 or 16 miles to Reynolds Campground. Great hike up a pass, but hard on the way down. Glacier feels like I'm in Skyrim. I love it, but I definitely will send some non-essentials home to reduce weight. Camped with Flo, Nemo, Strap, Backtrack, Swamp, Copenhagen, and Trail Bride. All but Backtrack are Sobo on the CDT. Glacier National Park is by far one of the most beautiful places I have ever been to. Before being in Glacier, I had never teared up at the sheer beauty of someplace.
And I feel like I'm tearing up. I don't know why. That's a weird emotion.
June 30th, day 4. 12-mile day cut down from about 15 miles because I crossed a river and walked or bushwhacked about 900 feet. Hiked with Rebel the entire day, got to camp at 4:30 and Rebel kept on going. Met Flick, Trey, and about 5 others in a group. Easy day. Had to go talk with Flick. Not everything was easy, and in fact, most of it wasn't easy. There was long nights, I had a subpar backpack that weighed far too much, a sore body,
My right leg still hurts behind my knee.
and the feeling that there were people that were missing me back home. July 1st, day 5, 10.2 mile day, up and down about 2,200 feet. Had a pipe with Nemo on the pass, lots of marmots up top. Talked to a photographer on the way down from the pass, got to camp at 4:30, starting to crave McDonald's. July 2nd, day 6, 15 miles to 2 Medicine Campground, met Brett and Haley at the top of Pickaman Pass and powered down the last 7.5 miles. Feet were very sore at the end and I didn't eat lunch. Brett gave me a beer at the bottom and we exchanged numbers. He said I can stay with them in Helena. Ate a ton of food I bought from the camp store after setting up camp. A little while after, a Vietnamese family invited me over for dinner. Had soup, pork, and wine. Talked to them for a long time about my trip. Super nice family, great end of the day. Vietnamese family came back at 9:30 and we took a picture together. July 3rd, day 7, 10.5 miles to East Glacier. I hiked with Nemo the entire day and tried Nutella for the first time on a mountain pass. I got a motel room for myself, ate a burger with Flo and Nemo, resupplied food and got a pizza for the night. Called home, not a bad day. Every day I had a very positive outlook. I loved it, but eventually I kind of got the feeling that I had taken on a little bit more than I can handle, especially with the little experience that I actually had with something so immense. July 4th, day 8. 15 miles to the end of Glacier National Park. Walked with Swamp for a bit. Legs and feet hurt way too much and wouldn't stop. I got to Highway 2 Junction and called it. I called my parents, told them I'm coming home. I hitchhiked back to East Glacier and stayed in the small campground behind Sears Motel. Talked with a CDT veteran and he gave me a beer. Hung out with Derek at the campsite and listened to a homeless Vietnam veteran tell us his life story. He did cocaine for 30 years, but is 10 years clean now. Listened to fireworks and got to sleep. That was the last thing I wrote. 8 days in and about 100 miles of hiking, My 6-month backpacking journey ended 3,000 miles from the finish line. The very next day, I got a train ticket and rode 24 hours straight home. So ultimately, I don't think I was really cut out for the whole trip. I felt like I was underprepared. I was low on finances, I went a little too fast and I probably should have slowed down, and I was facing some small injuries. Now, I don't mean for this to be a sad story. I'm not upset with how the trip went. I wish I could have finished what I set out to do, but the experience that I had and the people I met along the way was all worth the pain, money spent, the hard days, and the hungry nights. I saved all the information I had in preparation for that trip, and there still is that drive inside me. A drive to be out in the wild, the calling of the mountains and the deep forests. Something within me craves that sort of hardship and the freedom that it gives you. So, I don't think that was the end.
I want to be in that. And now, I'm actually doing it. I can't think of anything better to do right now with my entire life.